Welcome, and Jeremy Poplar's here with you. Week 9 is here. We have a kind of a snooze fest here in this 9:30 window here. Was hoping probably for a little bit more excitement there in that touchdown category thus far, but we do have two. One from Jerick McKinnon. Nobody saw that one coming, right? But 14-0 KC thus far in that early window. But I'm here to answer the questions in games that haven't started yet. We're going to do some week 9 start sit here for you this morning. Answered a lot already on my Twitter earlier this morning. If you do have more questions, feel free to jump in, or you want a bigger explanation to why I chose the player that I did, you can also drop those in here. You can set on over to YouTube if you are watching on Twitter. If you want to join the chat, that way I can pull up your comments. If you are on YouTube, drop those comments in there. And we'll get started here. We'll start answering those questions to get you guys those lineups to hopefully get us that win here in week 9, which could be crucial for many of us. But we're going to go ahead and start these questions. Fantasy football. Tyler, what is up? Had many questions about Rashee Rice this morning. Game causes moments. I get it. I agree, Tyler. I had a lot of Rashee Rice questions this morning as well. I probably would say I went with him 50-50. Kind of really depended on who you were going between. I liked Rice. He's kind of had a lot of red zone targets this week. Well, not this week, but in general, this week he got one as well and was able to cash that in. So seems like a pretty decent start. We'll see how it plays out, but hasn't had much work outside of that the rest of the game. So we'll see. Francis, what is up? Good morning on the YouTube channel. Here we got JSN or Shakir half PPR. I'm gonna go with Kyle. Oh, giving him his. I'm making a players here. Khalil Shakir is going to be the guy that I'm actually looking to start here. JSN has had a good couple of weeks. He's kind of in that category that we have with Rashee Rice at the moment. Like he's kind of touchdown dependent. He scores one, and I mean he's giving you wide receiver 35 to wide receiver 40 type production here in half PPR because he's just not highly involved in that offense at this moment. Khalil Shakir had a really good week last week. They switched a lot of 11 personnel there for the Bills with Dawson Knox out. I expect that in this game, and I also expect this to be a shootout. We saw the starting of that in that playoff game as well as the game that we had the Damar Hamlin injury. That game started out pretty quick and fast. So I do expect much of that to be the same here in this game tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Khalil Shakir. I think he's highly involved. And I think he's a little bit of a better start, just going to have more involvement. Tyler, most of the questions are after the game started. Yeah, that would be an issue. I don't think you could take him out of the lineup or replug him in, but maybe. Who knows? Gabe, what is up? Good morning. We got Nita Flex Help, Royce Freeman, Puka Nacua, Devin Singletary, Rashid Shaheed, or Tank Dell. Full PPR is his next comment there. So where I'm going to go here is I'm guessing you just need one. So I'm going to go ahead and say I lean Royce Freeman. Kind of close. Puka's kind of fallen into that wide receiver 20 to 30 with a real low floor without Stafford in there. So I'm a little bit concerned there. Not overly, but a little bit. Royce Freeman I actually have as a top 24 running back, and I think he could be sneaky good this week. Green Bay, I think that in that offense, obviously with the quarterback, they're not going to be looking to throw as much. So I'm thinking they're going to lean a little bit on Royce and Henderson. Royce has been the better runner of the grouping. He also found the end zone last week. So I do think that could happen again. So I'm probably going to lean there. Devin Singletary is intriguing to me, Gabe. I just don't like the matchup. It's a little bit tougher in Tampa than Green Bay as far as the run defense goes. Additionally, do we see a lot of Mike Boone? Like, I'm very still torn on Singletary. He's kind of still like a flex intrigue to me, but not really a starting running back by any means, where Royce is ahead of even Darrell Henderson for me. So I really like Royce. So it'd be between Royce or Puka. Shaheed's a little bit too boomer bust. Tank Dell as well. We saw him kind of not get overly involved last week. So I'd probably going to go ahead and roll, like I said, Royce or Puka. I lean towards the Royce side just because I think he's more likely to score in this matchup. Let's see here. We got some questions that popped in up on Twitter before I hopped in here. So let's get to those. We got at Match Winning Star 2 on X, full PPR League 1 Star 2, Puka, Dell, Watson, or Quentin Johnston. And then in League 2 Start 1, which is Puka, Marquise Brown, and Tank Dell. So League 1 here, Match Star, I'm going to go with Puka and Dell. I like both of them today enough. I'm really not in on Christian Watson and Quentin Johnston. I'm a little bit worried about. The corners don't really move with the Jets defense, so he's either going to get DJ Reed, which is not an easy matchup, or he's going to get Sauce Gardner, which is an even tougher matchup for a guy that we've always had question marks as far as his route running ability and ability to kind of separate outside of running those vertical routes or using his overall athleticism. I don't love. I really actually kind of like Gerald Everett sneakily in this matchup. So I'm going to avoid Quentin Johnston still. I don't have a high. I mean, there's that potential he hits. I mean, he's going to be clearly the second/third target in that offense, but I really think this is going to be an Everett and probably, honestly, an Austin Eckler type of day. So I'm going to go with Puka and Dell there for your first one. Second one, I'm also going to go with Puka. I still lean to Puka here. I know the quarterback situation is very iffy. He's still top 30 type of wide receiver for me, so I'm still going to roll with him. We got at Sports Dude 420, Kootenai Ingram or Royce Freeman. I'm going to go with Royce here, kind of like I had mentioned there with Gabe. I like Royce today. I think that he's probably the more likely to score than Darrell Henderson in this matchup. We got at Shannon_Sharp, start 1, Elijah Moore, JSN, Quentin Johnston, or Wandell, half PPR. I'll go JSN here as much as I don't think that he's going to be super involved. I think he'll be more involved than the rest of these guys / more productive. So I'm going to go ahead, roll with JSN there. We got at Jen Shepard, Henderson or James Cook. It's going to be Cook. I know he's been a little bit underwhelming the last couple of weeks there, Jen, but I don't necessarily think that this is a matchup that he's going to be super underwhelming. I think he'll sit in that high to mid-level RB2s, probably double-digit points, mostly probably the passing game, and maybe even finds the end zone. I think that this game, like I said earlier, is a little bit of a shootout, and I think that bodes well for Cook. If he finds the end zone, I think it could be a real good day for James Cook. Let's see here. We got at Oak_Gunther concerned with my wide receiver 2 and my flex. Should I be swapping out any of them? So he's got wide receiver 2 is Devontae Smith, and his flex is Zay Flowers. Let's see, on the bench, he's got Lockett, Godwin, and Downs. I'd consider Godwin over Devonta. I also like what you have rolling right now, Mike. I don't mind Devontae Smith. I kind of like him in this matchup. I don't think it's overly as tough as everybody wants it to make. Like Dallas has been pretty easy to pass against. So I think Devonta could have a decent day. I wouldn't say it's a perfect day for Devonta Smith, but I'm going to go ahead and say that maybe Godwin could be an option, but I'm going to lean with Devonta. Let's see what we got here. Alex Luther on Twitter, Addison, Marquise Brown, or Chuba for a flex spot, half PPR. This one's pretty easy for me. It's going to be Chuba. And he's been allowing a lot of production to running backs as of late. Chuba Hubbard has begun to ascend in that backfield, kind of taking majority of that work from Miles Sanders. We all really loved Miles Sanders coming into the season on a pure volume basis, and he was a decently productive last season, kind of coming off that career year. He's shown some high-end production ability. Well, Chuba had that high-end production in college, didn't really hit it at the collegiate level or at the NFL level. But the last couple of weeks, he's been kind of getting that larger and larger workload, kind of taking over a little bit more explosive than Sanders. Indy's a good spot for running backs. And so I'm going to go ahead and go with Chuba here. Addison, I'm worried with the quarterback switch. Jaron Hall is not a guy that I want to be playing receivers with. And Marquise Brown up against Cleveland could have some viability. I prefer Clayton Tune to Jaron Hall as far as the rookie quarterback starting going this week. So I don't necessarily hate Marquise Brown, but I really like Chuba Hubbard this week. Mike Botone needs 4 out of Madison, Henderson, Logan Thomas, McBride, Ferguson, Freeman, Josh Downs, and Jahan. Whoo, it's a list, Mike. Let's see what we got here. So we got 4 out of Madison, Henderson, Logan Thomas. I'm going to go ahead and ask any tight end premiums here for you, Mike. And then we'll get back to your question. Because that would matter. You got a good amount of tight ends in here because there's a couple I like, so we could maybe flex a couple of them. Let's see here. Brett, what's up, Brett? Happy Daylight Savings Day. I know I have a 13-month-old daughter who doesn't get the concept of daylight savings just yet. So it's been an eventful morning. The wife's handling that pretty well for me, so I could be here with you guys. So it is a good day. Extra sleep, morning football, a lot of fun. Deep league, full PPR, Mooney, Slayton, and Akers. So I'm going to go Akers here. He seems like more involved than the rest of these guys. Mooney, any pass catching option with Tyson Bagent hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been great. So I'm going to probably avoid that against New Orleans. Darius Slayton is interesting with Daniel Jones coming back. He probably has more upside than Akers, but I think Akers is that safer floor with also some upside if he does manage to find the end zone. Probably gives you that close to 10-point production. Maybe a little bit more if he steals that job from Madison a little bit more again this week. We got Max. Good morning as well. Thanks for what you do. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for coming. If you weren't here, then I wouldn't be here, right? So no problem. We got Christian Watson and Kareem Hunt. I'm going to go Kareem Hunt. It's a good matchup against Arizona. Christian Watson has been very meh. I wasn't in totally on Watson. I thought his production profile from last season really wasn't evident to long-term success this season. I was kind of and it just kind of continues to prove that Jordan Love's been struggling, kind of hurts Watson as far as the deep shots, stuff like that. Dubs and Reed's emergence also kind of hurts Watson. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Kareem Hunt, who's not super used. He's in that backfield, especially if Jerome Ford's healthy. If they do roll a 3-man committee, we're going to see, maybe 30% of the touches, but I do think Kareem Hunt could have a chance to find the end zone today. Won't be super great, I don't think, from either of these guys, but I do think Watson or Hunt has that higher ability to get to those double-digit points that we all want in fantasy. Emily, full PPR, Roschon Johnson, Jonathan Mingo, or Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to go Mingo. Carolina has the easiest wide receiver matchup with the Indianapolis Colts. They usually leave everybody pretty much wide open. So I'm going to go with Mingo. We've got DJ Chark kind of nursing an injury. He's questionable, might play, might not, and could even re-aggravate that during the game. Charbonnet, I don't hate him. It's just kind of really dependent on whether Walker can play or maybe aggravates the injury. They also get Baltimore as a pretty good run stuffing defense. Roschon, New Orleans, again, another good run stopping defense. Outside of Travis Etienne, they haven't really allowed much to running backs. So I'm going to go with Mingo. I think he gives you the highest upside there. The other two just don't really give much upside, and even their floors are a little bit scary. So I'd go with Mingo. Yeah, factual. Watson is pretty much tanked. I'm not going to say I called a full-on tank. I didn't expect that, but I did say earlier in the FTN articles that Jaden Reed was going to lead this team in PPR points. So we're getting there. It seems like it's Romeo Dubs, but we were close. Somebody other than Christian Watson. Scholarity, start 3 PPR, Walker, Devontae Smith, Tony Pollard, Ford, and Metcalf. So I'm going to start Ken Walker. I mean, I'm not starting Ken Walker. He's not doesn't really have an injury designation anymore. I know it's a tough game, and I just mentioned that with Charbonnet, they're kind of in a workload, but they're not really. Last week it was, but I think if Walker's another week healthier, I think it returns to what that was prior to that, which was Ken Walker kind of handling a majority of the touches. So I'm definitely starting him here. Out of the rest of them, it does get a little bit more dicey. I like Ford. I like the Browns running backs today. I think that they could potentially have a good game in store for them against Arizona with Tune. They might be leaning on that run game a lot once they get up. So I do like Jerome Ford here. So I'll probably go with the 2 running backs there. Tony Pollard's a real question mark for me. I like him, but that Dallas defense or that Eagles front is a little bit different when it comes to matchups, and Pollard's been very eh. So I'd probably lean. I'll go with Pollard. Devontae Smith's even scarier, and DK Metcalf has been meh. So I'll go with the 3 running backs here: Scholarkey, Walker, Pollard, and Ford. No problem, Emily. Tootsie Pop. What's up, Rachel? You've been having a lot of fun on Sundays. I've seen it. Hope your trip to Chicago was good. I saw that. So that's pretty cool. But we got 1 running back, Foreman, Murray, or Jamal Williams, or drop 1 for Ingram. I'm not dropping anybody for Courtney Ingram. Giant workload likely in store for him in this matchup. But again, it's Cleveland, very good against the run. Not doing it for me. He's not worth dropping any of these guys. Once Connor's back, he's just going to take over that backfield once again. As far as your question for today, I'm going to probably start Foreman. The only reason I'm starting Foreman here, Jamal Williams has just not been used. Taysom Hill feels like he's stealing his work. So I'm out on Jamal Williams again this week. Foreman and Murray, the issue is that I don't know what we get from Fournette. I don't think he's been activated yet off of the practice squad, so I think you'll still get a game with Murray. But I'm going with Foreman. Has a higher chance of being used more in a tough matchup. It's really kind of a meh out of all of these guys, so I'd probably go Foreman there, Rachel. Brett. Minshew, Danny Dimes, Zach Wilson, or Mac Jones. I'm in a big underdog, so I need upside. I'm going to go Minshew. I like the matchup. I think that could be a back and forth game there. I have Minshew ranked really close to a top 12 option this week. So, Brett, I'm going to go with Minshew there. The rest of the guys, Dimes would be interesting. But I think Minshew has a little bit more of a gain script where they could be in that game a little bit longer. At High to the Bay on Twitter. Happy daylight savings, yes. Roshan or McBride, worried about both guys' offensive matchups, Cardinals quarterback situation. So I'm going to go McBride here. I like the volume that he's likely to have. Michael Wilson's dealing with shoulder injury. I don't know if he's been completely ruled out just yet. We'll find that out here in a short bit. But I do know that he's still likely going to be either the primary or secondary target here in this offense. He saw those 14 targets last week. He's seen a ton of targets since becoming the guy. And even before that, Zach Ertz saw a ton of targets. Now, that was a different quarterback, but it was a schemed part of the offense. I think that they want to get these tight ends involved. And Clayton Tune is good enough, I think. He's a little bit of that gunslinger mentality. That's what he had at Houston. I think he's good enough to get the ball to McBride, enough to have that volume overweigh what Roshan's probably going to do on the ground. I don't know if Roshan scores in that matchup with New Orleans. So I'm going to go ahead and go with McBride here. I think that, especially in a PPR league, he could have, 8 catches for 3 yards. And, we've got, 8.5 points, where Roshan could give you, 80 yards, and he's only got 8 points. So I'm going to go with McBride. I think that there's some upside there. He could even potentially find the end zone if the Cardinals can manage to muster something up against the against that Cleveland defense. Mike responded, no tight end premiums on his question. So we got Madison, Henderson, Logan Thomas, McBride, Ferguson, Freeman, Josh Downs, and Jahan Dotson. So I'm gonna roll with. We got to get 4 out of this. So Freeman, Downs, Ferguson, Jahan is probably where I'm going here. Mike. That would be yes. We need 4. So I'm not going to start Madison or Henderson. I don't like either of them. Logan Thomas is interesting. But I think I'm going to go with these 4. Ferguson, Freeman, Josh Downs, and Jahan Dotson. Some safety in there as well as some upside for you, Mike. I think that you want to kind of balance that a little bit, and that's kind of where I'm going to roll with that. At Dunaway J on Twitter, Foreman or Freeman. I'm going to go with Freeman here. I like Royce today. I think that there's potential for him to have a pretty big day. Roschon or McBride. We're going to go McBride here. Let's see here. At Ghost of Kairos, would you play Nakua, Dell, or Downs? So I'm going to go with Nakua. I still have him ranked the highest. I think that there's still some potential in what should be a tougher matchup, even with the backup quarterback. I know that they might want to funnel the Cup, but if Cup draws Jair Alexander, maybe that backup quarterback's going to lean a little bit more on Nakua in what's a quote unquote easier matchup in that secondary. So I'm going to go with Nakua here. Dell was kind of a blank last week, kind of hurt us a little bit. Josh Downs battling an injury, so I'm going to kind of avoid that if I can, and in this situation we can. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We have Darth Vader for the multiverse, T. Higgins or Puka. I'm going to go T. I really like T. Higgins here. I think that this matchup against the Bills is a good situation. Should be a little bit of a pass heavy operation there for them. And I like Higgins a little bit more than Puka this week. Need a tight end, drop Judy or Rice for one. I'd probably drop Rice. Cameron would probably be my guess. Jordan Addison, so Bree _ NFL on Twitter. Jordan Addison or with Jaron Hall or Puka with Brett Rippin. I'm gonna go Puka still. Kind of what I mentioned. I really don't like Jaron Hall. At least Brett Rippin has some NFL experience. Additionally, Puka's going to have that easier matchup in the second cornerback for the Green Bay Packers. So I like Puka a little bit more than Addison, especially too because Jaron Hall. Don't love him as far as throwing the football goes at the NFL level yet. We haven't seen a ton from him, but even at BYU, he struggled at times. So, Ghostly Mystic, we got who should I start at tight end 1 this week? McBride or Njoku. I have Hollywood at wide receiver 2. Waller went on IR. I'm still going with McBride here. Both have seen heavy targets the last couple weeks, but I like McBride. I think that he's a little bit more involved in his own offense. With Watson back, we could definitely see a little bit more spread out there in that Cleveland offense. We could see Cooper getting involved more, Elijah Moore, even at potentially Cedric Tillman with the moving on from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Mr. Okaya, 32. We've got Logan Thomas or McBride. I'm going to go McBride. I just like the volume. Really think that he's going to be targeted pretty heavily today. We got at Lemk911, Big Cheese here on Twitter, Cooper or Pittman. I'm going to go Pittman. I really like this Carolina Indy game. I think it's sneaky. I think we'll get some good fantasy production out of that game. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with that. At GL Crandall, start 2 from Henderson, Ford, Dell, and JSN at wide receiver 2 and flex spots. So I'm gonna go Ford and Dell. Holding off on JSN a little bit here still, Crandall. Let's see here. We got Godwin, Higgins, or Flowers from Joel. I'm gonna go with Godwin here. I don't think you can go wrong. I think he's going to be a little bit safer play than the other two. Right, let's see here. We got Carlos from Twitter or from YouTube here. Puka, Dotson, or Pop Douglas in PPR. So I still lean Puka. I still kind of like his setup. Um, like I said, Brett Rippon a little bit more safer. I feel like at the NFL level, he's not like going to go out there and light it up likely, but enough to kind of move the ball against the Green Bay defense. Um, Draws that easier matchup. Dotson, I still want to see it one more week. I know we're not going to have Curtis Samuel out there, but we saw Jamison Crowder get some use like that last week. So who says Dotson doesn't really kind of fade away a little bit? And Pop, I want to see it a little bit. I like him on the roster. I'm not going to cut him or anything like that, but I'm not starting him just yet. I want to see it. Washington is a good matchup for him. So if you're really feeling Pop, Carlos, go ahead and roll with it. I have him ranked as a top 36 option. I just still have Puka a little bit higher than him. Brett, thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, it wasn't as bad. She was pretty good. She was pretty good. I'll give her credit there. She did sleep well. She hasn't been too bad, but she was getting a little fussy before I came on here. So it's usually her nap time. So, but Chuck G PPR flex, Gus Moss or Kincaid. Ooh. Hmm. I like all three of these guys this week, Chuck. So I don't think you can really go wrong. But I'm going to lean towards Gus. I think he finds the end zone. I don't know if he gives us what he gave us last week, but I do think I still lean Gus here. I think that he'll have a pretty good day. Um, I'd like Kincaid too. I just think it's a little bit more volatile with Kincaid, so I'm going to lean with Gus here a little bit. All right. Let's see what else we got here. We got Jacob um, at jnode_0619 on Twitter. Chuba or Douglas for his flex. Stream Green Bay or Pats D over the Bills this week. So I like Chuba here for your flex. And I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I like Chuba this week. It's a really good matchup there with Indy. And then, like I said, the Patriots D, I like them a little bit more. Howell's getting sacked a lot. That helps us when we're playing a defensive special teams. Also kind of has a little bit more on that turnover category. So I'm going to go with that. Then Green Bay. Let's see here. Looks like 21 nothing now, huh? I missed a touchdown. I think it was a defensive touchdown. All right, we got Mike Duke here from YouTube. Taysom Hill or Ferguson in PPR. I'm riding Fergie. I think that he's highly involved in that Dallas offense. So there's a little bit more safety to that. Taysom Hill's been riding a crazy touchdown streak at the moment. He is used decently as well. It's not like he's just completely irrelevant, but he's definitely not as much as Ferguson's involved in that passing attack. I think that game there in with Philly is going to be a little bit better matchup for the tight ends than it is for the receivers for the Dallas offense. And Dak's been playing really good. So I really like Ferguson. Just feels a little safer with just as much upside as Taysom Hill to find the end zone once or even twice potentially. Let's see here. Let's see any other questions we got here. We got Kevin Law 499-79874 on Twitter. Let's see here. Says, how's team 3-5 need to win bad? I feel you. Looks like you're starting out pretty good. Looks like you got a little bit of a lead. You got that Rashee Rice touchdown. That's a plus. Let's see here. You got Marquise Brown and Myers on the bench. Got Olave in. Flex. Yeah, I mean, I think you're gonna have to roll with what you got. I'm not changing out anybody that you don't have on the bench here, Kevin. So I think I'm gonna. Get that W for you, Kev. Hopefully. Stephen McMahon. Oh, Mike, you got a question here on YouTube. Tank Dell or Jacoby? I'm going to go Dell. Aiden O'Connell's been okay, but it was kind of really pass funneling to Devontae Adams there when he played last time. So I'm going to go Dell and just wait and see if he can kind of move the ball around a little bit more. Steve, who do I start out of these two of this unsuccessful bunch? They're not super unsuccessful, Steven. You know, they had some early season success. But we got Ramondre, Darrell Henderson, Nico Collins, Cooper, or Amari Cooper, and Puka Nakua. And then which defenses of special teams? Between Vikings, Giants, and Falcons. Let's see here. What we got here? Minnesota's got Green Bay. Giants have Raiders. And then the Falcons. I think it's the Falcons have the easier matchup, right? Where are you? Minnesota. So defensive special team will be Atlanta. And then let's see here. For your two full PPRs, I'm gonna go Nico. I like Nico's matchup today. And then Stevenson. Play Steven. We've got Robert Stone at Stonyberg 99, Zach Moss or Kareem Hunt half PPR. I'm going to go with Moss here for you. We got at Jared 2908, JSN or QJ. JSN for me. I am worried about Quentin, like I mentioned a little bit earlier on the stream. I just don't like the corners don't really travel normally, so he's going to either get Sauce or DJ Reed. Even if they did travel, he gets DJ Reed likely. Not a good matchup for QJ. I think JSN just a little bit easier of a matchup. We got at Olinjik Tom, half PPR, Addison or Hunt. I'm going to go Hunt here. I don't like Addison's matchup paired with Jaron Hall this week. Kind of out on him a little bit. So I'm going to go with Kareem Hunt. At underscore CG 3, need one PPR flex, Gus, Moss, or Kincaid. I'm going to go with Gus. I think the upside is a little bit higher there. As far as punching in a couple touchdowns. Let's see here. So close. Need two running backs, Moss, Ford, Henderson, PPR. Thank you. I'm going to go Ford and Moss, the first two you got listed there, Daniel. I like Ford in this matchup against Arizona, and I like Moss against Carolina. Henderson, I'm less in on, as well as I really think Royce Freeman kind of handles a majority of that backfield today. We got at Cole 21289, Watson or Madison. I'll go Watson here. I don't like either of them. Madison's got a real tough matchup in that Atlanta front. Akers just starting to steal touches. Watson's been so not risky with Watson. Maybe gets you a little bit more upside. Who should I flex here for at Gus 177? Puka, Royce, Dell, Singletary, or Shaheed, full PPR. Hmm. I'm going to go with it's between Royce and Puka for me. I'm probably gonna go Royce just because it's a little bit of an easier matchup. Let's see here. We got Benjamin0277 on Twitter. Need some helpful PPR. Need to start two out of these three. Nakua, Hunt, or Mixon. I'm a little concerned with Stafford being out. Also miss in his chest. Thanks. Not overly worried about Mixon. I think he'll play, and it's a really good matchup here, Benjamin. So I'm going to go with Mixon. I have him as a top 10 option this week. And then I'm going to go Nakua here for you as well. All right. We got NJ activities, DJ Moore, or Addison. Ooh, the mix of double negatives. I'm going to go Moore. I have more faith in Tyson Pagent throwing the football, even though Moore likely draws Lattimore. Addison's also going to draw probably Terrell and has Hall. So I'm going to go with DJ Moore. A little bit better quarterback, a little bit maybe better player, Addison and Moore. Maybe Moore's a little bit more established, I'll say. So I'll go DJ Moore there. Little big man, wide receivers with quarterback problems. You're telling me it's like everybody, right? Puka, Addison, or Myers. So I'm going to lean Puka. I've kind of mentioned it a little bit here on the stream and as well as on Twitter. I think that Brett Rippon's good enough to move the ball against the Green Bay defense. I also think that Puka won't draw Jair Alexander. That's going to be Cooper Kupp. So Puka has a little bit better matchup. Addison's kind of their impromptu wide receiver one, so he's likely getting AJ Terrell, which is on a tough matchup there in Atlanta. And then Jacoby Myers, we really don't know because Aiden O'Connell, he has the easiest of these matchups, obviously, but he also wasn't really targeted last time Aiden O'Connell played. It was kind of just force feeding Devontae Adams, and that could happen again as well. So I'm going to go ahead with Puka. It just seems like the range of outcomes is a little bit safer, and he has that high upside. We've seen it. But I feel like the floor is a little bit safer with Puka this week. So I'm going to roll with him because I think he has just as much upside as the other two, but a little bit safer floor. Ian, half PPR, Aaron Jones, or Terry McLaurin. I'm going to go Terry McLaurin. I think that the matchup is in. You always get a little bit worried with New England. They're really good at taking away their best player. But I think that game is good enough where I think McLaurin's going to get out on it. And I'm still really worried about Aaron Jones. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. And that's happened to me a couple times now with Aaron Jones. He just really isn't back and fully healthy yet. So until I see it, I'm going to probably keep benching Jones if I can. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with Terry McLaurin here for you. Let's see what we got on the Twitter. Corey, week 10 question. Planning ahead, Corey. Come on. We're not even done with week 9. Don't rush the NFL season away. But I'll answer it. Fine. Planning in advance, Kyler or Fields? Thanks. I don't even know. Who do they got next week? That should be a good question. Let's find out. Please hold for me. I don't remember who they got next week. This is what you get, Corey, asking me a question for a week in advance. Let's see here. Week 10. Oh, so Fields has got Carolina. And Murray has Cleveland. No, Atlanta. Probably Fields. Playing Carolina. So I'm going to likely lean Fields there. It's close, but I'll probably lean Fields. He's at least played this year. Murray, we're still going to see a little bit. Also, does he trust that knee? So yeah, I'm probably going to go Fields for you there, Corey, next week. Spike Nolan 78, Addison, Olave, Davis, Ford, and Singletary. Pick 3. So Olave's in for me. Davis, I like the matchup for Gabe Davis this week again, and Jerome Ford. All three have pretty good matchups. All three are pretty heavily involved in their offense. Addison, I do worry. Kind of talked about it a little bit here. Don't love it with Hall, as well as probably drawing AJ Terrell. And then Singletary, do we see Mike Boone? Do we not? It's Tampa. They're pretty good against the run, so I'm kind of avoiding him if I can. I like these other 3, so I'm going to go ahead and avoid Singletary in this situation. We've got at Malum 54, full PPR, Addison, Douglas, or Watson. I'm going to go Douglas here. I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give some pop. Let's get some pop, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't. No. We'll pretend I didn't say that. We'll go with Douglas, though. I don't like Christian Watson today. Jordan Addison, like I said, don't really like him. So I'm going to risk it with Douglas here. I have him as a borderline wide receiver 3 this week. So I think there's some upside there with Douglas, just as pure volume in that New England offense. At twin _ 805, James Cook or McLaurin. He doesn't know who he's talking to. James Cook. Duh. You see the Bills helmets? God, no. But really, though, James Cook is the guy that I want to go with here. I think that this is a decent matchup for him. He's been a steady running back 2 throughout the season. Yes, he's had his ups and downs, but I do think that this could be a day that he finds maybe an explosive touchdown and is used pretty heavily in the passing game to go ahead and give him some decent production. Terry McLaurin I do like, but I think James Cook has a little bit better safety to his built-in production. Lost Waller, should I trade Nico Collins for Kincaid? In a vacuum, just not knowing what the rest of your roster looks like. Like if you start Nico Collins weekly, maybe not. But I'm guessing with Puka, Addison, and Myers, Collins is probably on the border there. So I would probably do that, little big man. I like Kincaid moving forward. We do have to worry that when Knox comes back, it changes a little bit. However, we were talking 4 weeks on IR. We'll be pushing close to maybe the playoff time for fantasy, so it could get a little dicey there. But Kincaid might get you through at least until Waller's maybe back ish. We'll be close, but I don't mind that at all. Tootsie Pop, we got Noah Brown or Brandon Powell. You're making my questions tough today, Rachel. Going Noah Brown, though. Again, I don't really like Jaren Hall. I really am worried that could be a very rough game for the Minnesota offense in general. So I'm going to go with Noah Brown. Noah Brown's been decently involved in that Texans offense, and I think CJ Stroud's a better option. And Tampa Bay, the way to beat him is through the air. So I think that we could see Noah Brown get involved decently here. So I'm going to go ahead and roll with Noah there. On Twitter, we got Juan Baladeras, Nico Collins or Lockett, Brian Robinson, and Ingram. So I'm going to go with Collins. I like that matchup for him today. And I'm going to go with B Rob, running back position. Ingram's matchup against Cleveland, not that great. And I think that Washington could get into a situation where Brian Robinson is actually used pretty heavily, and we get a good production out of Brian Robinson today. There for you, Juan. Let's see here. Scroll. Let's see here. We got Zach Hernandez, Amari Cooper versus Arizona, or Godwin versus Houston. I'm going Godwin. I do like Cooper today. It seems like paper easy matchup, but Arizona, you're not necessarily overly going to have to pass if you're Cleveland. I think you'll be able to move the ball on the ground pretty heavily and easily as they ease Watson back in. So I'm going to go ahead. Excuse me. Sorry. Lead with Godwin. I think that Tampa Bay Houston game's a little bit closer, a little bit back and forth. Godwin also has a pretty safe, 10-point PPR type floor. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Chris Godwin for you there, Zach. Oh, another touchdown that helps everybody. Cedric Wilson had that one on there, right? So we got Gary Roberts at GRob 9886 on Twitter. PPR Flex pick 2. DJ Moore, Henderson, Hubbard, Danny Dimes, and Flowers. So I'm going to go Hubbard and Dimes. I just prefer to lean to the quarterbacks. I also think that Danny Dimes could have a decent day today against this Vegas defense. So I'm going to go with Hubbard. I think he's the best physical player as far as skill players go here in this grouping, and then go with Dimes in the super flex just because I think their upside at quarterback's a little bit better than a positional player. Also a little bit more safe, we'll say. We got at M Jodaway on Twitter, Nakua or Olave. I'm going to go with Olave here. I'm ranked a little bit lower than consensus with Olave just because of how he's been playing as of late. But Nakua also has obviously dropped down a little bit with the Brett Ripp and Matt Stafford issue. But I still like Olave. It's a pretty good matchup for him today. Zach, Gus Edwards or Brian Robinson? Gus. I'm in on Gus Edwards today. I don't expect what we've been getting as high end production these last couple of weeks, but I do think that he's still a RB2, double digits, likely finds the end zone against Seattle today. Nahil, Jerome Ford, or Chuba Hubbard? Ooh, I'm actually going to go Chuba here. I think that he's a little bit more kind of separated himself from that running back by committee, and Indy's a really good matchup for running backs. So I'm going to go ahead and take Hubbard here. I think that he could have a pretty big day. I do like Ford though, so if you like Ford a little bit better, I'm okay with making that switch. But I really lean Hubbard. I think he's going to have the better day of these two. Let's see here. We got Lucky Brand, Cup, or Amari Cooper. Cup. You can't not play Cooper Cup. I get the worry. And Cooper could score more points, but the the high end production that we could get out of Cooper Cup is what I'm going to go here with Lucky Brand. So let's see here. All right, let's see. Let's check out here some week. Looks like we're getting some inactives rolling in, which is nice. So we got Amari DiMercado's out. No surprise there. We expected that. Michael Wilson is officially out for the Arizona Cardinals. We got Emo. I'm desperate here. That's why I'm asking Zeke, Van, or Crowder. That's not that desperate. I've had worse. Not so much. But no. I'm going to go with Zeke. If you need safe, like safe play here is Zeke. Zeke's going to give you a decent, maybe 5 to 8 points, depending on your scoring format. I see you said you're leaning Van. I am. I'm not, and the only reason I'm not is it could be Khalil Hodge, it could be Pitts, it could be Smith. I get the opportunity there. Um, but if I had to even like go with one of these receivers, it's probably Crowder. He had a really good game last week in New England. If New England does what they want to do defensively, they're going to take away Terry McLaurin. So now that's going to be that secondary or third receiver that's going to have to step up. And that could be Crowder. We saw it last week. He had a pretty good game. We know Howell can throw the ball all over the field. Taylor Heineke, he's shown it in the past, but like, where's he at right now? And I could see the Falcons not really throwing the ball a ton. I could see them just leaning on Algier and Bijan. So I think Crowder would probably be my upside play, and Zeke's like my safe floor there. Amol. I just think that, yeah, obviously with Samuel out, I know Van maybe 30 or 40 yards and a touchdown, but he could also just drop it like he did last time. So um, I'm probably going, like I said, Zeke safety. If you wanna play that high upside and you need that smash type of play, maybe go with Crowder. I mean, Van, if you really lean Van, I don't hate it. I mean, I feel like all those guys are kind of in that same realm. So we're kind of splitting hairs amongst guys who are very highly volatile. So I'm going to go ahead but I still think Crowder would probably be my upside play there. No problem. Hopefully it works. If you play the guy that I'm saying, hopefully it works. If you play the guy you're playing, hopefully it works. Hopefully it just works out. Maybe the one that you choose is the guy who hits. That's what I'm hoping for. Baltimore, let's go to the inactives again. Nothing crazy here. For us as far as fantasy goes. Chicago, also nothing crazy. Tremaine Edmonds is out. Could be interesting there for the other side of the ball. Jaquan Brisker. So some defensive pieces missing in Chicago. Cleveland, we've got no David Bell. That's good news. That means that Cedric Tillman is definitely active. Could see something there. No Newsome makes it a little bit better there for the Cardinals. Packers, nothing crazy. Texans, Damian Pierce and Woods is expected on the offensive side, but even Jordan expected. Nothing crazy there. Rams, Gaskin is out. This bodes well. Stafford is officially inactive, so we are getting Brett Rippon. Kind of been anticipating that all morning, so it doesn't really change any of the Puka or Cooper Cup type of calls that we've made thus far. But it is now officially official that Stafford is not playing. Minnesota, nothing crazy. Darrisaw's out. That's a big loss. Nothing crazy there. New England, Keishon Butte and Devontae Parker are out. That means your boy Jalen Rager is starting up. Obviously, Pop Douglas also looks like he could have a pretty good situation for today. Saints, nothing crazy. Tampa Bay, nothing crazy. Sean Tucker, inactive. Hate to see it. So much hope. So much hope for Sean Tucker. Didn't hit this year. Tennessee, don't care about. Washington, yeah, Samuel's out. Other than that, nothing exciting. So nothing exciting really or unexpected from the inactives that are out. Gill, PPR, sit one, Noah Brown, Jamison Crowder, or KJ Osborne. I'll go Osborne just because of quarterback play. I don't really trust Jaron Hall today. So I'd probably sit Osborne. A little bit tougher matchup. I like Noah Brown as sneaky play today, kind of. Like, I mean, in this desperation where we're in this kind of buy and we're starting some of these types of players, I don't hate Noah Brown or Crowder, to be honest, this week. So I'd probably go with Osborne as my sit. I had to get to hop on my pod row. If you have a spot on yours, I'd love to hop on. Where can I contact you? Zach, easiest is Twitter, Hopes FFH. That's probably the easiest spot. You can go ahead and reach out. But yeah, maybe we can hook up with something in the future. Let's see here. Twitter, LED Hustler, who is the flex and half PPR is Puka, Brian Robinson, Ford, or Hollywood. I'm gonna go with Ford here. I do. I really like Ford to find the end zone today. I actually kind of like 3 of these 4 here. LED. But if I'm picking one, I'm gonna go with Ford. I think that there's a chance he finds the end zone. A little bit more used as far as production goes there. At Barcelona's 2, Dotson or Christian Watson. I'll go Dotson here. I just don't think Christian Watson's going to give us much here. Johnny Tamo 2, Puka or White at flex. I'm going to go with Rachaad White. I was in on him last week. I think I'm still in on him this week. I think it's just the constant volume and production. He gets those nice little easy check downs, stuff like that. Makes it pretty easy, especially in any type of PPR format. Gives you that little bit of boost at running back. Could potentially find the end zone. So I'm going to go with Rachaad White there. Let's see here. Let's see. At Xabos, half PPR, McLaurin or Aaron Jones. I'm gonna go with McLaurin. I like Terry today. I know that in theory, New England tends to take away their better option, but I think Terry's going to be just fine. So I'm going to go with McLaurin for you there. Let's see here. Twitter makes this hard. In case you didn't know, Twitter disabled the comments ability. It's been a while now. It's not totally new, but makes doing these very difficult sometimes because you got to scroll through, then you answer one question, it takes you back to the top, Makes things complicated for us. I don't know why Twitter's got to be that way. All right, let's scroll through and make sure I got all the questions answered. All right, so we got at Johnny FFB. We've got Singletary, Dotson, or Dell. That's gonna be Singletary for me. We got Baker Mayfield, Gardner, Minshew is gonna be Minshew for Dalton. At King Dalton 330. Old Sport, Pianci, QJ, JSN, half PPR is going to be JSN. If I did not already answer that one, it sounds familiar. That's our three wide receivers at Flex, Bleed Red and Gold 49 on Twitter. Tank Dell, Josh Downs, Christian Watson, Washington, and B Rob. So I'm going to go Dell, Downs, and Robinson. Me here in your start three, Rodrigo. Half PPR, Mike Chan, Swindle Chan on Twitter, Cup, Puka, Devontae, Algier, Ingram, McBride. Need three. So I'm going to go Cup for one, Devonta at two, and then McBride is my third in that set. And then I'm going to go Freeman over Ingram. Austin's got Lockett or Gus in PPR. I'm going to go ahead and go Gus. I think that he has a better chance to find the end zone. Pick two, Myers, Watson, or Downs. Should I throw Watson in with Downs not 100%? Downs also playing at 4 and Watson at 1. I would go with. I like Downs and Myers, but I understand your injury concern with Downs. So maybe play. What time is Myers' game? Isn't the LA game a late game too? Hold on, it's scrolling across the bottom. Yes, it is. So I'd play Watson and then play Downs. If we have to, then you can pivot from Downs to Myers if Watson is declared out. That'd probably be my play there. Or if Myers is, yeah, okay. So play Watson at 1. If Downs happens to miss at 4, you have Myers to pivot into. That would probably be my play right there. That would be my play. All right, scroll to the bottom. See, and make you scroll, and then it doesn't load. Twitter problems. Love it, gotta live with it, but yet you hate it at the same time. At least me lets me get some much needed coffee here. Let's see here. Half PPR Puka, GJ wouldn't be asked if Stafford was starting. Still Puka. Let's see here. Andrew, we got need to start to Addison Flowers or Devonta. I like Flowers against Seattle. Pretty decent matchup. Bert McGirt, FF on Twitter. Already started Nico Dell or Dubs. I'd go Dubs then. Um, Pretty even for me. We got at Roberts, Cryban 5. Morning, got a question for you. Higgins, Downs, Dell, Hubbard, or McBride? I'm gonna go Hubbard here. Madison or Foreman today. I'll go Madison. Don't really love either there, Jeff. At Jeff Baker 1980. That's where I'm gonna lean though. Puka for Dell and PPR. No. Still think Puka is gonna outproduce Tank Dell. We got Inflex 2, Logan Thomas, McBride, or Taysom this week. I'd go McBride. I like the volume Inflex. I think Tune's going to be good enough to get the ball at least out to his playmaker somewhatly. I like McBride's matchup against this defense in Cleveland. At safe 14 to 111, Collins or Olave. I'm going to go with Collins here. I like the matchup. I think he's going to get us what we thought we were going to get last week. I think we'll get something of that against Carolina today. At least I hope. I'd say that. I hope that's what we get. For everybody's sake, because I have been mentioning him as a start. So not only for selfishness, but I have been mentioning it. So for everybody's sake that has a Nico Collins share, I'm hoping that we get what we were hoping we got last week. As confusing as that sounds. Let's see here. Michael Pang. We have Dell, Hollywood, Jacoby Myers, or Addison. Pick one, half PPR. I'm gonna go Dell here. Don't like the matchups for everybody else, so I'm gonna lean with Dell on that one. Dotson or Douglas. I'm gonna go Douglas here. On undecided at Skeleton Cruise on Twitter. Puka, Amari, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, PPR got to start two. Leaning Hunt and Cooper. I'd go with those two. Trying to decide between either Dell or Stevenson and Flex for at chipping for Bogey. I feel you chipping for Bogey. I'm in on that one. I'm gonna go with Stevenson. Although chipping for Bogey, I did only get to play once this year. It was really kind of depressing as far as golf goes. I'm not here to talk about my golf game, but it was one of the better rounds of my entire life, though, that one time I got to play. So that's cool. Just said I'll pack it up here for the rest of the year. Not really. Just didn't get out there. But I'm gonna go Stevenson over Dell there for you, Zach. Another JSN or QJ. JSN. Jimmy Davis, Roshan, Akers, or Ingram need to start two of them half PPR. I'll go Roshan and Ingram. Both have tough matchups. I guess Ingram has a better, I don't know, volume touch, projected volume. There. At Jazz Stoinks, Jonnu Smith or Everett. I'm going to go Everett here. I like the matchup against the Jets. I think that he's going to have to be used a little bit more than the Chargers have in the past couple weeks. We got Komet or Musgrave, half PPR. I'm going to go Komet. He's been used pretty nicely since Tyson Pageant's been at quarterback as well. So we've got Douglas over Dotson. They're asking, yeah, even with no Samuel, I'm going to say yeah. Right. Logan Thomas, Tyson Hill is going to be Thomas for me. All right, back to scrolling. Scrolling. Devin Singletary or Addison. I'm going to go Singletary here. We got Singletary, Dillon, or Robinson. I'm actually going to go Robinson here. I like the setup here for Brian Robinson today. Let's see here. Douglas Singletary, Addison, Nico, sit one. I'll probably sit Addison. I'm gonna sit Douglas. I'll sit Douglas here, Jordan. Close between him and Addison. 3 out of 6: Walker, Devontae Smith, Pollard, Ford, Metcalf, and Godwin. That's gonna be Walker. Oh wait, I think I got you already on. I think you. Nakua or Dell is going to be Nakua here for you at Tampo Stros on Twitter. Please pick two: Henderson, Aaron Jones, or Hollywood Brown. I'm going to go Jones and I'm going to go Brown. It's a tough matchup, but I'm going to go with it. I think that he could have a decent day. Everett or Hunter Henry then. Here for S Jazz Stoinks. I still like Everett. Let's see here. Still scrolling. Let's see here. Henderson or Singletary is going to be Singletary. Devonta Smith or Godwin here at Kaiwai Business Attorney is going to be Godwin. Addison, Douglas, or Watson will be Douglas. Let's see here. Twitter is not cooperating this morning. I apologize, people, for the silence. Also watching Raheem Mostert run through the Chiefs defense. Daryl Mann asking with Brown with the quarterback. I like Tune. Tune's a little bit of a gunslinger, so I think I'll be able to get the ball out. Let's see here. We got at CFAT20X on Twitter, Logan Thomas or Ferguson. I'm going to go Ferguson there. Let's see here. Brett. calling it Twitter, so it's misbehaving. I can't call it X. I just can't. Just can't do it. It's weird. Like, why is it one letter? I don't know. It seems strange. No, it's been acting weird for a while now, Brett. It makes it, it makes it hard. I miss when you used to be able to pull it up how we do with your YouTube comments a while back now. It's been years almost. And it made it easy. You could pull it up, you could see your question, you could answer it. Now it's just me scrolling through the the thread that's on Twitter, and then you answer a question, it takes you back to the top. It's just makes it a little bit difficult for this. So, but I'm here. I'm doing it. We'll get to these questions. Let's see here. We got Aaron Cantu need two. Shakir, Douglas, Royce Freeman, Charbonnet, and Johnston. So I'm gonna go with Freeman and Douglas here. I'm gonna go Shakir actually. Aaron. I like Shakir tonight. I think that's a decent spot for him. I do like Douglas though too. Better Superflex start. 4-point passing touchdowns, full PPR. Olave, Mac Jones, Bryce Young, or Wilson. I'm gonna actually go Bryce Young. I like the setup for him against Indy. Rashad White or Tony Pollard already starting Brees and Mostert. I'm gonna go White here, George. I like the spot for him against Houston. I think he can kind of have what he had with Buffalo. A lot of those check downs, stuff like that, which is great in full PPR. So I think that he's a lock for like a close to a top 15 type of production today again in that offense. Just because pure volume and like I said, those checkdowns are key in PPR scoring for running backs. Good Vibes also has better tight end Hawkinson or Kincaid. I'm gonna go Kincaid. I like Hawkinson today, but again, it's Jaron Hall. I think Kincaid could have a good day today. Alrighty, let's see here. All right, come on. Oh my. Now it froze, people. Twitter froze. Gosh dang Twitter. I blame them. I blame Twitter. I got to call it X. That's right, Brett. X. I blame X for not loading. What is going on here? Oh. Come on. It seems like questions are dried up, but I'm trying to get this to load because it's not. Oh, here's one. Gman5167. Oh, look. And it just froze again. Carr or Howell? So I'm gonna go with Howell. I have them back to back. The only reason I'm not going to go with Carr is it is an easier matchup, and I could see them maybe just running a little bit more. Howell, I think, is going to be a little bit more back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Howell there. I do have them back to back, both top 12 options actually this week, considering obviously with a lot of teams on um, bye. So they're both kind of real good options this week, but I lean Howell. Jay Stonks also has Amari Cooper or Garrett Wilson. I'm going to go with Wilson. I like the matchup against the Chargers. And Zach Wilson's been good enough to get him the ball, so I'm good about that. I like it. Let's see here. We got KH sit one half PPR, mix in Bijan or Ramondre Stevenson, or sit Puka and play all three. I'd sit Puka. And I like Puka. We talked about it all day, but I honestly like all three of those running backs a lot today. So I'm going to go ahead and sit Puka in that instance. Caleb Freeman, Elijah Moore, McBride, or Robinson. I'm going to go Freeman. I like Royce Freeman today. I like McBride too, so it's kind of between those two, Caleb, but I'm going to lean towards Freeman. Just feels safer to actually score a touchdown, which might give us a little bit more. Let's see here. We got Swarm at JPJB on X is going to be McBride or Hill. I'm going to go with McBride. Andrew Heigl, Ford or Henderson. I'm going to go with Ford. In Moose No now Graveman 58 on X, T Higgins or Nakua. I'm going to go with Higgins here. G-Men 2352 McLaurin or Nakua. I'm going to go with McLaurin. Let's see here. We got at Henry J. Church, Ramondre Pittman, Ford, pick 2, please. Ooh. Let me just double check. Pittman's for sure in there, Henry. I'm just gonna double check our running back rankings quick. I'm gonna go Pittman and Ford here. And Ford here. Yeah, Ford and Stevenson real close to each other. That's why just to double check it. But I'm gonna go with Ford here. I think I like the spot for him today. Um, a little bit more than Stevenson. We got Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. I like the Twitter handle at classic underscore max. Terrible quarterback options. Baker Mayfield or Love. They're not that bad. Both pretty high ranked quarterbacks this week with all of the situations. But I'm going to go Jordan Love. He's shown to be a little bit more productive on a weekly basis. We got Kelsey Van Elgenberg, Kelsey Vane, help Devin Singletary or Roshan Johnson. I'm going to go Singletary. Seems like he's going to have the bigger role. A little bit easier matchup against Tampa than Roshan against New Orleans. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Singletary there, Kelsey. We've got 1 for 7, Colby Jack, 147, Trey or Ferguson. It's been a pretty popular question this morning. But I'm going to go with Fergie. I think he's a little bit more involved in that. Well, they're both highly involved in that offense. I don't know what I'm saying here. They're both really highly involved. But I think Ferguson, a little bit better matchup against the Rams, better pass offense. Trey McBride, I think, is going to have a good day, but there's definitely a bigger variance there with him because what if Clayton Tune isn't as good as we expect? I don't expect him to be an all-star, but I do think Tune can move the ball enough that gives McBride some value. So um, we got I'm a Moose now, Graveman, dropping a tight end question as well. We're going to go with Musgrave, Johnu Smith, or Everett. I'm going to go with Everett. I like the matchup against the Jets. Jets kind of easier to move the ball via the tight ends than the receivers, so I'm going to go that route. We got Daryl Mann. How about Henderson or Jahan Dotson in flex? I'll go Dotson for upside. Um, we are closing in on the end of the stream. We do end that at 12:30. So if you're on YouTube, get your last minute questions in. Obviously, if you do not, you can head on over to Twitter/X, whichever you want to call it. Drop the questions. You can either just tag me. There's a couple different threads out there, whether it's on this one or um, my Twitter handle, which is Popes FFH's thread. Either way, I will try to get to them at least before that 1 o'clock kickoff as we close into that lineup block. But if there's any on there, don't see any on those. We'll dip back over here. We'll see if we got any last minute questions that I can get to before we get out of here. This league is 1 PPR, deep benches waivers. What do you think about the lineup? I've been destroyed by injuries this year. I feel like a lot of people have been. Let's see what we got here, Garrett. We got Tua in there. He's giving you a decent start, 14 points. Thought he was going to have a bigger day, but still got some time left. Moss, Mixon, I like those two. Brown and Pittman are good. Hills, decent. Shaheed, Zach Wilson. So I like the quarterbacks you got versus who's on your bench between O'Connell, Tune, Cousins, and Hall. I definitely would play Wilson, so I like that. We got Ingram and Madison, JSN Thomas. So I kind of like Thomas better than Hill, but not a ton there. So if you like Hill, that's fine with me. Shaheed, probably gonna play him over the rest of who you got here. So I like it. We got tired. Okay, does it make sense to start JT and Moss today? Other running backs are Hubbard and Gus. I'd probably play one of those other Hubbard or Gus. Honestly, I like both of them today. Alrighty. Well, thank you if you tuned in on YouTube for asking your questions. If you followed along on Twitter, thank you obviously for tuning in. This is a weekly stream, so we'll be back for week 10 next week. I think we have no buys, if I remember correctly. I think they did this weird thing. I think no, 10 might have some buys. I don't know. Either way, we might be getting Kyler Murray. We might be getting Justin Fields. We might be getting some players back next week. So that is exciting times. So again, tune back in next week if you would like. I'm gonna get all your start sit questions answered. And if you did tune in today, I appreciate it. Thank you, and good luck to all. Let's hopefully get some W's out there. All right. Until next time, thank you. Take care.